One cold day in March, 3 old friends trudged along a weathered-down sidewalk path in Detroit. It was full of cracks and holes and uneven slopes that not only showed age, but reminded them of scrapes and bruises and bicycle races that didn't end well. Though they were familiar with each other and this place, there was a sense of isolation that enveloped them, despite being together. Things were not the same, not anymore. The cause for this foreign feeling went beyond the growth that they experienced, the changing seasons, and the simple fact that life happened. It extended into something internal, something foundational to their collective relationship. And now it was gone. The funeral was private. Not many people were there, but not many people needed to be. It was intimate and brief, and reminiscent of the life lost and taken too soon. Jesse was never one for formality. A rambunctious child turned reckless adult, he lived his life without much structure or caution until his carelessness led to his own death. He never really feared death, though, and maybe that was the problem. One drug overdose was enough to end that. His sister, Ashley, was quite the opposite. Walking twice as fast as her friends behind her made sense of who she was. Uptight, high-strung, and focused. She had to be in order to keep her job in the business industry. She led the way and the others followed. After all, they were going back to her house. Her old house, the one she shared with her late brother before everything changed. Jaden trailed behind, monotonously kicking a stone on the ground. The action felt as meaningless as the rest of her life. Staying in the same hometown that she grew up for the last 48 years of living will do that to a person. It whittled her down to this bitter shell of a woman. She kicked a chunk of snow and ice as she trundled along, small pieces and flakes trailing off as she moved forward, the ball getting slowly smaller and smaller as they approached a nostalgic destination. As they trekked down the path, each member of the group silent as an autumn day, Martin Smith, usually referred to as Gooby, decided to break the silence with some very light banter.
I guess it wasn't a very fun roll.
Not now, Martin.
Ashley sighed. After a bit of silence, Gooby retorted.
Don't call me Martin today. It's not what Jesse would have wanted.
Like you would know what Jesse wanted.
Jaden angrily quipped.
I'm just trying to goob the mood, you guys.
Gooby said gloomily. They walked towards Ashley and Jesse's old home for a good while longer, returning to the comfortable silence when they passed a familiar sight. Gooby suddenly piped up.
Yo, you guys remember this hunk of junk?
Jaden and Ashley turned to see an old, rusted playground just barely hanging off its own hinges. It creaked and swayed in the cold March wind as it looked one bad day away from total and complete collapse.
Wowie zowie!
Gooby exclaimed as he scurried his little body up the slide. The rest of the gang sighed and Ashley exclaimed,
Slow down! You're gonna get yourself hurt, Martin.
I said I'm Gooby today.
Are you sure you want to be Gooby today? There are serious consequences when you're fully goob.
Jaden responded.
Yes, I'm sure.
Gooby seemed confident.
All right then, Gooby.
Jaden shook her head. Gooby danced around the playground. Everyone stared on in shock.
Come on, guys, let's get to goobin'.
Jaden hesitantly watched Gooby as a smile spread across her face. Jaden suggested,
Come on, guys. Gooby is right. Why don't we play a game like old times? Or are you too busy working on your spreadsheets?
Ashley reacted with disgust.
You know, some of us have to work a real job. Not all of us can live off of unemployment in their parents' basement.
Jaden.
Lighten up, Ashley. Goob was just trying to make a joke.
I was just trying to bring a smile to that little face.
Gooby lovingly caressed her cheek. Ashley gave in and stated,
Okay. Alrighty. I guess one game wouldn't hurt.
Jaden asked.
Okay, I'm down. What game should we play?
Gooby excitedly suggested.
How about Foursquare, like we used to?
Ashley and Jaden fell silent and exchanged a disapproving look.
Gooby, there aren't 4 of us anymore.
Ashley softly responded.
Yeah, too soon, Gooby. Too soon.
Come on, guys. I know we don't have Jesse anymore, but it doesn't mean our lives are over. We can still have fun. We can play with 3 people.
Jaden and Ashley pondered for a moment until Ashley ultimately relinquished control and walked over to the court.
All right, let's do it.
Are you serious?
Jaden asked.
How are we going to play Foursquare with 3 people?
It's possible. We just Don't use his square.
Ashley suggested.
Okay.
Jaden sighed. He slowly walked over to the 4-square court and positioned himself across from his 2 friends. The 3 friends took their normal position. It felt like old times, but Jesse's square remained empty. Gooby grabbed the ball and passed it to Ashley. Ashley passed it back to Gooby. Gooby passed the ball to Jaden. Jaden passed it to Ashley. Ashley passed the ball to Gooby. Gooby instinctually tossed the ball into Jesse's empty square. The ball bounced out of the square and rolled right into a broken down slide.
Oopsie! Gooby did a no.
Gooby toots as he prances after the ball.
I'm tired of pretending like this is normal.
Jaden began to swell up with rage. Gooby returned to his square and passed the ball to Jaden. Jaden catches the ball and takes a bite out of it. She chucks the ball into the stratosphere, disappearing into outer space.
I'm tired of pretending this shit is normal.
Jaden stomped toward a metal park bench, bolted into the ground, and unearthed it with the power of 1,000,000,000 lions. She turned her head, spotted Gooby, and proceeded to walk toward the petrified little green man with malice in each of her steps and hate in each heartbeat.
Uh-oh!
Gooby exclaimed. She lifted the 200-pound metal bench into the air as if it were lighter than a feather and proceeded to slam it into Gooby's greasy cranium. Jaden continued to decimate Gooby's body as he lay lifeless on the ground with no hint of ending as Ashley watched without a hint of emotion in her eyes. Jaden stopped obliterating Gooby. She ended her vitriolic beating of the Goobmeister only for the reason that she so terribly obliterated this public seating option to the point of uselessness. She tossed what is left of the park bench aside and stares at the goob puddle she left on the ground. No burial or ceremony can be considered anything short of a disgrace to Gooby's legacy.
I hate you, Gooby! I hope I never see you again, god damn it!
Ashley walked up to Jaden and said,
I sure hope this doesn't affect the economy.
as she shook her head. Jaden and Ashley walked off the playground. They both took one last look at the playground as if they both understood that this would be the last time they ever see it in full view. And they proceeded to turn around and walk to Ashley's house. The goob puddle rematerialized into the funny little man we all love. Gooby got up from the ground and looked at the audience.
Oh yeah! I was a goblin the whole time, so I can never die! It's Goobin time! Gooby-dooby-doo!
And he proceeded to tap dance off the playground in a fit of joy.
Welcome back to the Obligatory Podcast! That was the award-winning tale of Gooby the Goblin, written by today's guest, a lot of people, but spearheaded by today's guest, Eli Wilcox. Thank you so much for
Thanks. It's an honor to be here.
Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Of course.
We know you got a lot of meetings with, goblins and wizards and gnomes, and we really appreciate you making time for, the Obligatory Podcast.
It's just been crazy lately. My life is like a video game. My life is like a video
Your
game.
life is like RuneScape famously.
And I've been trying hard to beat the stage.
Forrest, you asked me a question earlier today, and it's actually gotten me thinking. What's your deal?
Oh God, yeah. What is your deal?
Yeah, what the fuck is up with
seriously,
you,
dude.
Eli? I mean, crowds are raving.
We were just talking a lot about slurs before the camera was rolling.
Yeah.
Is that your deal?
My deal, slurs and
my
LeBron
deal
James.
We were talking about LeBron, and well, my deal is not slurs. I'm generally, I actually think almost entirely. I'm trying to run through the Rolodex of my mind. I think I'm fully anti-slurs.
Really?
So you're saying you just thought of all of them for sure.
I just thought of every slur, and I went
itemized list. You went
shouldn't
no,
say that.
no, maybe no.
And recently, go ahead.
You may be anti-slur, but do you have a favorite?
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know, as you were thinking.
You know, Dream Minecraft recently said the R slur.
He did.
And
He tweeted it
he
out
got
and
in
then
a lot
also
of
said it
trouble.
live.
Yeah.
Well, that's called bravery, folks.
That's called bravery.
He's talking about Tommy Innit and his fan.
That's so fire.
Yeah.
I love that Dream Minecraft drama is back.
It's 2025. We need one
It
every
didn't
year.
feel right without it, honestly.
Yeah.
I felt
That
like
I need another song sometime
Another.
soon.
That's what the mask is.
that would be
That'd be
great.
good.
Yeah, what's your deal? What are you up to? Tell the audience about
My
yourselves.
whole deal. Well, okay. This is actually the way I want to phrase it now, because I think if you asked me even a couple weeks ago, or even maybe like, if you asked me 6 days ago, my answer might be different.
Okay.
If you asked me 5 days ago, my answer might be different, maybe a little closer. But I think I understand now in like subtle, more nuanced ways who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine, this is like hypothetical, this
Okay.
is like a visualization exercise.
I'm great at those.
Yeah.
I'm playing a ping pong match against like I don't know, just anybody. Just visualize any ping pong player. I don't know who the best ping pong player in the world is, but I'm playing a ping pong match against a ping pong player of an undisclosed skill level.
Okay.
Symbol. Yeah.
So he and I are rallying back and forth, and
Yeah.
we're trying to focus on the match. And there are all these sounds and sights and things that are like coming in, trying to infect my mind with distraction. And that's a common occurrence. I have anxiety about the situation because I don't want to lose the ping pong match. Now,
Yeah.
let me tell you why
Okay.
I do not want to lose this match.
Tell me why.
The reason is the referee is holding my son, a baby, a one-year-old
God.
baby, at gunpoint.
At gunpoint?
And
Gunpoint.
if
in the
I-
middle of a ping pong match.
In the middle of the game.
Is there a crowd? Is no one like
There is a
concerned?
huge crowd and everyone is cheering. They're losing their fucking minds.
So is this
because
a new Saw thing? New Saw trap situation? This is like a budget?
I don't really
expansion?
necessarily know the details of how we got to the situation.
Right,
I can
okay.
only really understand the present moment.
Yeah,
If I lose the game, the baby's going to get shot in the head and die.
obviously.
Yeah.
My son.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I go, okay, I need to win this match.
Mm.
And my fingers are sweaty and like it's dribbling down my forehead, and I
Yeah.
feel like there's
Yeah.
blood that's coming out of my fingertips,
Mm.
and everybody's screaming at me, and I can't tell if they want me to win or lose. Sometimes it feels like they want both.
Mm.
Sometimes it feels like
Yeah.
they just want to see more blood come from my body.
Yeah.
Right. And also maybe from the baby's body.
And I have all of yes, definitely. And I have all of these factors that make me go like, more than anything, I want to throw this ping pong paddle to the ground.
Mm.
But the only thing that I want more than that is for this baby to live.
I understand.
And if I'm tired, if I'm sweaty, if I got hit by a car this morning,
Yeah.
if
Right.
someone's yelling at me and trying to get in my head, and I lose and I go, well, it doesn't matter, you know, someone got in my head and like my hands hurt and my fingers slipped. The baby doesn't care.
Yeah,
No,
The baby fucking dies.
The referee absolutely doesn't give a
The
shit.
referee's not gonna go, oh, like you needed to get a haircut a couple days ago. No, he's gonna go, boom, 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 boom.
He's gonna
Yeah, 4
murder-
times.
Exactly.
Everyone just takes 4 shots to kill a
He just
newborn.
fucking destroys it.
I know that sounds like your nightmare, Eli, but that to me sounds like a more interesting Challenger's plot than what the actual Challengers
At
was.
what point in this ping pong game do I get to be the ping pong ball? Because that is really
Oh,
fun
that
part
was
of
that was
Challengers.
one of the
That
best
was
parts
the
of
most
Challengers.
important
That and also the time that
And then they
the guy
69.
slapped his boner.
The boner slap. I mean, the boner slap is epic. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was swag.
Eli, for the uninitiated, is a theater kid here at VCU.
Sure.
He's been in a lot of plays. He's very accomplished. He is my TA
That's also true.
in Actor Studio with DT, who I mentioned.
Oh, DT.
Plenty of
DT's
times.
not
Yeah,
good.
many
I love
times.
DT.
Yeah,
Yeah, talk
you-
about him all the
You
time.
guys have an awesome relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you and I
Eli,
are good
I just
buddies.
wanted to ask before we, get into the Gooby of it all, like,
Sure.
what kind of got you into acting? What kind of
That's good.
instilled a drive in you to perform, to be kind of silly and whatnot?
I wanted to quit. Well, I started because I hated it and I wanted to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started when I was really young because I wanted everybody to validate me and love me and give me attention all the time.
Oh, for sure. The claps.
Which I think is my secret, like, I have a theory that that's everybody's answer, but they're just afraid to say
It's
it.
definitely everybody's answer.
I mean, I agree.
Like, so many people love to say shit like, oh, I just love storytelling, blah, 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 blah. I think it's bullshit. I think that
There's
they
just other ways to do storytelling if that's what you love.
Exactly. There's more. Go be a writer, right? I think that we want people to look at us and go like, we think you're smart and handsome and funny. And I think that that's what everybody wants. So that's what I thought when I was like 10 or 9. And so I went like, this is the way to go about this. And so I started doing plays and shit. And then I wanted to like succeed, or at least do better than other people, or at least just like keep chasing that dragon. And so I did more and more shit as like time went on. But when high school came around, it sort of got to a point where I was the only person that like cared as much as I did, which is a bad position to be in anywhere in your life, is to be like the person that cares the most.
Yeah. With a room full of people who just, they don't.
They were taking a class in high school.
Right, exactly. It was literally a thing where it was like, you know, at my high school, things like that were mandatory. So you had to either do a sport or do the play. Because it was a private school, so they had to really fill up your time. And so, there were a whole bunch of people that would do the play or the musical, and they were just there because they didn't want to do a sport. So they were just there. And so I put so much crazy pressure on myself in like 10th, 11th grade for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And so it caused me to start to have panic attacks on stage, which was like nightmarish. I mean, it was crazy because I'd walk up there, and I remember like the most vivid one. I had to do this really long monologue where I just sat there, and I had an orange, and I had to peel an orange, and I was talking. And I just like started to have like my vision grow dark, and like shadows grew around my eyes, and I looked out into the audience, and I slowly saw them like fade away, and I was like, I actually don't know where I am.
Oh wow.
And I just started,
that's fucking freaky.
So I just started breathing, and then I like looked, and I don't know how, I to this day don't know how long I paused. And then I had to keep going and go all the way through.
And I just like, oh wow, that was a really like thoughtful pause.
I don't know. Because I get off, and I say this to my parents every show, and they keep telling me I say it every show, but every show I'm like, that was fucking dog shit. That was the worst I've ever been. And they were like, what are you talking about? So they said it that time. So that's why I never trust them. But
that's why they're goddamn assholes. Like,
that's why those motherfuckers telling me I did
those fuckers. I know. They support my ass no matter what. But so after that, I quit. And I was lucky because COVID happened. So I was like, I didn't have to confront that I was a coward. I just got to like rest on the fact that there was a pandemic.
Built-in free time.
It's a great time to not be doing something that has to be in person.
Yeah, exactly. And I did a play on Zoom, and it didn't.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't scary at all. So I was like, this is great. And then I got to school here, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even want to go to college, but they made me. And so I went to here because it was the only one that it was the cheapest. It cost the least amount of money. And then I took a intro to acting class. And really, more than anything, the community was fantastic. And this intro to acting class was really more like a Karen voice and speech kind of class. So we were doing a lot of like weird, like, you know, walking around, breathing in different ways, pretending to be animals. Yeah,
I was in voice and speech class. I pretended to be an airplane for like a good 2 weeks. That was like that thing that I was like, no, I was a boat, and like Milo specifically was like on top and like rowing the boat. It was awesome.
Do you have a turkey? You have a turkey, right?
No, I don't have a turkey. But
you don't have a turkey?
How do you know? I have a turkey.
I don't
really.
The fuck do you not have a turkey?
Oh wait, no. Oh,
turkey is a part of the curriculum.
No. Yeah. I taught him how to do that.
Oh yeah, wait. Yeah. So we did that, and I don't think I learned anything about acting from that class, but I had a great time. Maybe I learned some things. I don't know what I learned from that class. It was a long time ago, but I had a really good time, and so I was like, fuck this, I'll just do this, because I didn't know what else I was going to do, and I had a blast. And so I applied to the program, and I got in, and 1 year later, you and I were in the same class.
That's true.
And this was, I don't know how long I should, go into my story, because I can talk forever and ever and ever about this kind of stuff.
I mean, this is your time.
This is your episode.
So George and I, and actually the way I met you through the power of storytelling, there was a exercise that we had to do in our class.
Oh, right. Oh my God. I just remembered. Yeah, keep going.
We had to pretend to talk to somebody that we knew. Just like very naturalistically.
Oh, yeah.
And so you were the person that George chose. And also, I will say, if I may add, he talked about you so fondly I was like, this guy has such a great friendship with somebody that I don't know and maybe we'll never meet.
That's true. I think it was, what is it? I called you because you were at, you were at the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, and I was calling you to let you know, like, fakely that they opened up a rainforest cafe in Richmond.
That would be, especially at that time, that would be big news. That would be a conversation we would have.
I would call you in an instant.
And I remember I called my friend Spencer and I talked to him about, I don't know, something from our high school, some drama. But so we were in that class together. Now, what ended up happening, and the reason now that George and I are no longer in classes together, is this, which is we have an advisor. Her name is Janelle.
She's good.
Oh, Janelle. Okay.
And she's fantastic. She's a really wonderful woman. But she is in a very disadvantageous position because she is the only advisor for all of VCU theater.
Yeah.
I believe that's true.
Big.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
Anytime I've talked to her, she talks about her life as though she is living in a torture chamber. Janelle, I know you'll never watch this, but I love you with all my heart.
Janelle, shout out.
But that moment in my sophomore year, 2022, just briefly after we read and created the Gooby story collaboratively, I said to myself, deep in my core, I am a hustler. And deep in my core, I understand that I am not content to go to college for 5 years. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because the way it was going, I was doing a year and then I decided to start theater and then George and I would have been in the same year together.
Yeah.
Right now I'm graduating May 2025, but back then I was on the track to graduate in 2026. So I scheduled a meeting with Janelle.
Right.
And I said, hey, I just want to talk about my degree. And I said to her, listen, this class that I took about a year ago, this like Linklater, the voice and speech sort of class, this was basically an acting class for non-majors. And it filled a similar role to the class that I'm taking right now with Wes, which is the class that we were taking together. Is there any chance that I could substitute it and basically move up so that I could get like an override into the sophomore level classes? And she said, like, I understand why you would want to do that. However, that's kind of a thing that we don't do here because those classes are very different. A lot of people are having a very similar problem and similar requests, but at the end of the day, that's not really how this system works. And I said, I completely understand. I appreciate that, Janelle. I will meet with you tomorrow to talk about it. And so I, in the middle of that meeting, scheduled a meeting for her the next day for the exact same problem, even though she told me
that's that's hustling.
And so the next day, I get into the Zoom meeting and I was like, hey, Janelle, I was just thinking, like, I was wondering if there were any updates about me getting this override.
Okay.
Like, if you had any sort of, idea about what we could do. And she said, like, hey, I understand, but at the end of the day, like, I don't think that there's anything we can do. And I said, I completely understand. We will talk about this tomorrow. And so for 4 days, I scheduled consecutive Zoom meetings with Janelle until on the 4th day, she said, well, actually, there is something we can do. If you get the syllabus for the old class and the syllabus for the new class and permission from Wes and permission from the new teacher that you're going to be going into the class of, then we can basically fill out an appeal where we retroactively add you into this new class and it'll be a whole thing if they say that the classes are close enough.
Yeah.
And so I went and I got the old syllabus and I got the new syllabus and I talked with Wes and I said, hey, here's my situation. And he seemed sympathetic. I don't know why. I don't know why he would want to help me. I don't even think I was particularly good at the time.
I disagree with that, but
well, thank you. That's very nice. And so I get added into the new class. And so at around like the middle of my sophomore year, my entire schedule changes. Now there's a random side thing. Well, this is also a good story. I don't want to just talk and talk and talk. I don't know if you have a show you're trying to run.
I have something so like small.
We have like a small segment.
This also gets into a mental breakdown that I had at that time because of this situation.
Right.
So basically, I filled out this form of appeals and I sent them out to basically the theater or I think it was just all of VCU Arts, like the arts administration board for all of these like ad drops. And I emailed the professors for the classes I would be going to, which were Tippy, the movement professor, Emily, who is the acting professor, and Janelle, who is this voice and speech teacher as well. And I basically said to all of them, like, hey, I am going to be added into your classes soon-ish when this form gets signed off on by the powers that be. Is there any chance that I can join now so that I'm not super far behind when I eventually get, let in?
Yeah.
And all three of them said, absolutely, that's completely fine. There was one hitch with the problem that I did not communicate with anybody, which is the movement class was at the exact same time as a class I was already taking, Intro to Drama. Yeah. And so I had a choice I needed to make, which was, am I going to be behind a class for the rest of my track? Or am I just going to never go to this class and hope that this form gets signed off so that it gets dropped retroactively and the F that I have in this class doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Did you not think of this? And hear me out on this one.
Okay.
Bathroom breaks. Lots of bathroom breaks.
You got a real bad problem.
You alternate which class you relate to.
Fuck,
you tell
that's
them
good.
both, I got IBS. There is nothing I can do about my problems. It's medical. Here is my doctor's note. I assume your parents are doctors. That's
They
just
are.
how, there you go. Doctor's
I
note.
I have to shit. And then
I gotta shit.
I gotta shit.
Look, I will be
That's a
back
good
in
idea.
5 minutes. Every 5 minutes you leave. I don't know.
I think that's a good idea. Fuck, I should have thought of
That, obviously you
I
could
could have
clone
done
yourself. You could have hired a lookalike.
Hey, listen, I would have played your lookalike. I would have played you for
That
that
would've been so
class.
George
Fire.
does a really good white
Fuck,
face.
that would be good.
Trust that, like, I did it for the last episode, you're gonna want it.
I like his
Oh,
white
that's
face.
good. That's really good. Fuck, I can't believe I missed that. Damn. So,
Okay, but that's not what you went with.
that is not what I went with. What I went with was the second option, which was I didn't go to this class for while I was enrolled in it, right? So, like, the way the situation was going to work out is Class A, I am currently taking it according to the university. And so I'm assigned to the canvas. I get a grade for that class. My participation, the assignments I turn in, all of these things are calculated by the teacher. Class B, I am not supposed to be in this class. I'm not enrolled in this class. However, if somebody signs a form somewhere, I will become enrolled in this class, and this class will cease to exist.
Will it be expunged as well?
It will be expunged. But here's where the problem was.
Gamble.
It was a gamble. That is exactly right. You found the exact right word that I would use to describe the situation. If it didn't work out, I was fucked. Because I would have completely failed this class. I would have not gotten into any of these new classes. And so not only would I be back where I started, I would actually be behind a whole semester. And I would have failed that class. And so a week passes of me waiting on this form to get signed off on. 2 weeks pass. 3 weeks pass. 4 weeks pass. And on the 5th week, the pressure becomes so great. Because if you miss 5 weeks of a class,
That's a lot of class to miss.
it's over. They're not going to let you go. They're not going to let you come back out. The way it works is like if you miss 3 classes, your grade goes down a letter grade, and then after that, any class beyond that, it goes down again. So
you're fine.
that's 10
That's
classes.
all
It's in the
unexcused.
negative. Yeah, there's nothing I can do.
You know what? Hear me out. Long doctor's note.
I've been shitting the whole
I
time.
have been in a coma for the past 5 weeks. Please?
So the 5th week comes around, and I remember the exact day. It was Tuesday, September 19th. Maybe it was a Monday, but September 19th. And honestly, I've been spending most of my days now with a racing heart, just freaking the fuck out, because any day I could get an email that forever changes the course of my life.
It's a very expensive mistake as well if you fuck up.
I know. It was. That's why it's like, the term gamble is perfect, because it was like I didn't even do this on purpose, but I just walked into the casino and I was like, I'm all in. Just randomly.
Yeah, which is
All
honestly
black.
like I have mad respect for.
So I look at my phone, and at the time I had what was Twitter.com and is now X, the everything app.
Yeah.
And I look, and the top trending hashtag is hashtag National Pirate Day.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
that
goodness.
is September 19th.
You saw about Pirate Day.
This is bringing something back.
Really?
Please continue.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would love to hear your Pirate Day connection, but I don't know if it comes from the front of my brain or my amygdala, where my fight or flight lives,
Obviously.
or somewhere deeper in the more primordial base regions of my gut brain. But I heard a voice call out to me when I read the phrase National Pirate Day, and it sounded something along the lines of like, I need this. And so almost
that was your inner pirate. You know,
That was your
everyone
inner pirate,
everyone has an inner clown, but what people don't talk about is the inner pirate.
The inner pirate is really, really dangerous.
Yeah, and the mask is a beard, actually.
It's a parrot.
Well, here's what I masked with, my friend. Almost as though a puppet controlled my body. And this is why I say the phrase mental breakdown. It was crazy. I got up and I went to my kitchen where we had a bunch of cardboard boxes, and I cut out an eye-shaped cardboard slice and covered it in black paint and slapped it on my face.
Okay.
And I did not remove that eye patch for 14 hours. And the whole day, I talked like a pirate.
This is what I remember. I feel like I remember
this?
talking to you, or you posted something like on that day specifically.
From Park to Pad to Bellevue, from this class to that class, it was this voice, and it was this mannerism, and I had this, and I said, I really need this, and I get to that, and it was like it was so many classes. I mean, I did movement like this. I had, I might have had Emily's like this. I don't know. It was really quite.
I heard actually you were absent to all your classes that day because they said there was some weird pirate guy.
There was some fuck ass pirate guy.
He said his name was Captain Pirate Beard. I don't know.
And I remember I got into a fight with my friend because I was being rude. Because she was talking about some problem she had or whatever. And I was just basically being like, well, why don't you kill them? Why don't you kill? You know,
you couldn't drop the bit.
It's like you were being the best.
It was insane. And I don't know how to articulate any better than it was just like the whole day. It was like this energy. And I get to voice and speech class at the very end of the day.
Well, that's the best place to do that.
It was perfect. And this is at like 6 p.m. It was late in the day. And Janelle sees me and she goes, you can't, whatever this is, you can't bring that in here. And I go, Janelle, you don't understand. I need this. And she goes, no, you don't. You either take it off or you're not coming to class. And so I took the eye patch off. I put it in my pocket. And you may remember, but or you didn't even have Janelle, I don't know. But we spent a lot of time in that class laying down and like meditating, and which is anyways. But I laid down as me now for the first time in the day. And I began thinking, as one does when they're sitting.
Yeah.
But the thoughts that I had, when I normally think, sound like this as I'm talking to you. But the thoughts that I had in that moment didn't sound like that. The thoughts that I had sounded something along the lines of like, she thinks she can stop me. And for a moment, my thoughts were in a pirate voice because I had been talking like that all day. I had been thinking like that all day. And I got like a foothold into reality and I went, this is ridiculous.
It was that eye patch haunting you from your pocket.
Yeah.
It's like the Green Goblin.
Yeah, it was too close. You need to throw it out.
It was truly absurd. And so after that, maybe like 3 or 4 days later, I get an email from the retroactive ad committee, and they say, "You're fine. We got you into the new classes." But I kept the eye patch. I still have.
And you're like, "Oh, thank God! I can put my swashbuckling asses away.
I don't have to walk into their office and be like, "You sons of bitches! I'm coming for you."
Finally, you can reattach your foot. No more peg legs. This is so convenient. Finally. But anyways, that's my long-winded story. I guess that was about how I got into acting.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. I think I had a very similar like mindset, I guess, going into VCU specifically with acting. I came to VCU because it was the only school that I both got into the like acting program and the academic program. There were like, I only applied to like 3 schools. I did not want to go to college. at all. I thought that shit was for nerds.
Well, it is.
Come on, it is.
It kind of is.
But yeah, that I remember similarly that class specifically, it made me think no, I should stick with this. I should really try at this. And I think you were a very big inspiration to me, doing that, especially working on that Gooby the Goblin script. We've been teasing it. Class. We've been teasing it. Forrest has not read it.
You've never read it?
Not
you'll love it.
So
it's really good.
Gooby the
I sure remember.
We had a teacher, and of course none of us were taking the class. No. It was an intro to tech class where you would learn about how lighting works and whatnot. Everyone had to take it in the theater department. Yeah. And it was just stuff that I think it is now looking back, it is important to know that stuff, even as an actor. I think I think this is just me speaking, but I think everyone should at least play on top of leads and official roles. Everyone should also be an understudy. And everyone should work in tech in at least one show. Just so that you understand how all aspects work and so that you can respect people even further. Yeah. You know what they have to go through in order to get these parts working, because it's all very important to the overall thing. But freshman year, George did not share that. He thought it was dumbass shit.
Well, we didn't really learn anything in that class that was...
No, I mean, it was just the teacher just being a fucking weirdo, walking up behind people and rubbing their shoulders. She yelled at me.
Rubbing your shoulders? So this is a light board.
Oh, I remember... This was after Gooby the Goblin. Me and Eli did a presentation. Me and Eli, we did a presentation where throughout the entire thing we had a still image of Jay-Z he was in the bottom right corner of the entire
he was the foreground and the background.
Well, I mean, that just makes sense.
And I remember we also worked with Lucian, and Lucian had a section where Jay-Z would point to different things on the screen to help him out. It was fucking awesome. But Gooby well, actually, and then you mentioned the email.
Wait, I was going to talk about the life of Eli. Was it Eli?
Yeah.
I don't even know if you mentioned
Jay-Z's song "Life of OJ." I don't know if you're familiar.
Jay-Z's song "Life of OJ."
Yeah, he has a song called "The Life of OJ." I don't think it's about OJ Simpson.
Well, OJ's mentioned.
It's hard not to mention OJ these days.
Yeah, he made a song. And
I heard that he's really been coming into the zeitgeist ever since this. One podcast did a big episode on his book.
Someone did their homework.
You guys read I Did It?
I did. I read it.
He read If I Did It.
It's not called I Did It.
It's very clearly a hypothetical book. He reminds you every few pages.
Good.
We ended the presentation with a parody of that song where he goes he goes and pardon my slurs that I'm gonna use. He goes, rich nigga, poor nigga, white nigga, black nigga, something, 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 something. And we replaced the N-word with Eli. So it was rich Eli, poor Eli.
The song is a great commentary, by the way, on social issues. I just want to say.
And our teacher hated it.
She did not like that. What? We had to redo the whole thing.
We did. What? And specifically in the email, what did she write? She wrote something. She said
I don't remember.
She said the addition of Jay-Z was unprofessional, and that we had to redo it.
Unprofessional, dude. Come on.
Jay-Z is a business,
dude. Fucking eat this goatsy. All right? Who cares?
But yeah, we worked on a project called Gooby the Goblin.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, it was called The Old Playground, but it's called Gooby the Goblin.
It's basically Gooby.
Yeah. What do you remember of Gooby the Goblin?
Well, I remember the process was really funny the whole way through, and I don't know why, but we went to the library and we all worked together. Mm-hmm. And this was I'm saying this well, I don't know, but it was you, me, Casey, Jada, Aidan, Katherine, and I saw
star-studded lineup.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking. I recently looked at the selfie. There's a selfie that I don't know. I think Aidan's taking it.
Yeah, it'll be on the screen. I have it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, where we're all looking up. You know what I'm talking about? And I looked at that recently. I don't know why. I looked at old pictures, and I'm like, how did this happen? That's crazy. That's I don't know. That's that scene in Better Call Saul where Oh, have you guys seen Better Call Saul?
I haven't
don't
seen
wanna
Better.
spoil the show.
You can spoil it.
There's a scene where it's like everybody that's in it is dead in Breaking Bad. And
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. It was like cinematic. But instead, it's like for me.
And this was like that.
I don't know. It's just like
Man,
being
this is
nasty
like,
with it.
oh man, all these people are dead now. This is fucking tragic.
All these people are sick as hell. But it was a good time. I don't remember necessarily what happened, but I don't know what it had to do with design. I don't know what it had to do with.
Yeah, I mean, the project was just like writing a
Is
Is this a
story.
replacement project?
Yeah, this
So
was.
you did the Jay-Z thing and she was like, you need to do another?
this was actually
the
Jay-Z was
this is the
after.
first thing we did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was like one of those things where she just sort of sat us down and was like, all right, here's a picture of something. And we had to choose a picture. And so we chose a picture of a playground. And she was like, you need to write a play about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know how any of the ideas that came to be. But I think really what ended up happening is you, me, and I don't remember this vividly, but probably Aidan, poisoned the well of ideas so consistently that any reasonable or rational story that someone presented was instantly bastardized to something so dumb
Yeah.
that we ended up with the Gooby the
That's
Goblin
kind of
story.
awesome.
It was really beautiful.
I think what it was someone's. I think it was you. I would put money down that it was you. Someone said Goblin. We wanted to write a quote unquote
probably me.
serious story about these people.
It was meant to be so serious.
About these.
In a playground. by the way.
It's this story
Most
basically.
tragic.
Yeah.
The story is like these 4 friends. One of them has died, and like the other 3 friends like went to their funeral, and they're walking back, and they see their old playground
Oh.
that they used to play at. At some point, someone said Goblin.
So,
Someone said that someone should be a goblin.
Like a goblin under the slide, or like a goblin is in the group of friends?
I don't know. Someone said Goblin.
Okay.
He ended up in the group of friends. He could have been under the slide, but he ended up in the group of friends.
yeah.
And
That's right.
yeah, and the audience already heard it, but for you, Forrest, these 3, like, what we basically did was we didn't mention that he was a goblin until the last line.
Yeah,
that's a
it's
beautiful
subtle
commentary.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there would be lines where we're like, the green man. Or
It's like you're
The green man, you're like, wow, this guy really likes the environment.
and he's like, he scurried up the slide. And it's like, the basic story is that they're walking back, they see the old playground. This guy, Martin Smith,
Yeah.
his nickname was Gooby.
Don't call me Martin. I'm Gooby today.
he like his old, like the friend who died called him Gooby. The guy who died's sister was there, and then also a businesswoman was there. Like just
Yeah.
some other
It's
like,
good to have
She was
those
like kind
people
of
around
the
just in
anchor.
case.
She was
Yeah.
like uptight.
and then they play Foursquare.
Isn't that how it starts? They play Foursquare and they
They play Foursquare, and it's like, but there's no 4th person. They're like, we can play anyway, and then someone instinctively throws it into Gooby throws it into like the empty square, and then the businesswoman gets so pissed that she unearths a park bench with her Hulk strength. And then bashes Gooby over and over and over again until he is quote unquote a green puddle on the floor. And then and when she went to grab the volleyball that got thrown, she takes a bite out of it and then launches it into the moon. But like the very beginning is like, these 3 friends walk along the cold path, reminiscing on their late friend's death, who like died like by a car accident or something. Like it was incredibly serious. And then we throw in lines, and no one knew how to react. Our teacher loved it.
It was amazing because we wrote it. This what I'm remembering now is that we wrote it in thirds. Like a person wrote the first third, a second person wrote the
awesome.
second third, and then a third person wrote the third third. I don't remember who wrote which part, but it was like the tone shift is.
Yeah, was that the assignment, or you guys were just fucking around?
We were just fucking.
After Goblin was said, we just started fucking around.
But what was beautiful about that is like I think that class was gorgeous because I think Gooby obviously set a really powerful tone, and there was an unspoken competition every assignment, which was who can make the dumbest thing and get away with it.
Yeah.
Because we had obviously the story of I think the story of OJ probably most definitely won.
It was like the dumbest thing, but we didn't get away with it.
Yeah, we did not get it. So in that case, we did not win. There was also some other heaters. I don't really remember all of them. I mean, I'm kind of I have an ego, so I remember the one I did, which was Jeff Probst versus Aliens.
I mean, that one was just incredible.
Which was so sick. And I know that I keep saying people that maybe people don't know or whoever, but Matthew Foltz as Jeff Probst is like the greatest casting I've ever made.
That is really good casting. I remember I also have an ego, so I'm thinking about the one that I did where like these aliens kidnap a fisherman, and the alien that I played, his name was Zarfield, and he was basically a carbon copy of Garfield.
That's awesome.
But
I do remember
he
that.
He never read the comics or anything. He just was an alien who happened to love lasagna and hate Mondays.
I mean, there you go. I mean, that's a great character.
You're on the
That's
money.
a full character.
That's all you need.
But it's also what's also really beautiful about Gooby is that it's a true story. I mean, we all know Gooby very personally.
Yeah, I actually most recently met him today.
Yeah. Oh, you met him today?
Yeah, well, George likes to introduce me to like his Richmond friends here.
Sure.
Because obviously I'm up in DC, like I'm not meeting Gooby on my day-to-day or anything like that. I do follow him on Instagram. He was just suggested to me, and I'd heard George talk about him so much, I figured I might as well. But me and George were getting lunch earlier. We were going to China. Wow.
We went to China.
You guys went to China
we're going to get
That's a
Chinese
big
food.
day.
We're going to Panda Express.
Oh, okay.
And
A classic in the area.
there was Gooby.
Yeah.
Right there. Like he was
at Panda.
He was at his job.
Damn.
So I got to meet him. I ordered
He was working at
I met him at the cashier.
Yeah, right.
I tipped him heavy.
Yeah, you tipped him handsomely.
Yeah, well, I wanted to give him as much green as he showed me.
That guy shows a lot.
And let me tell you, although he was at work, he was not afraid to take it off.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Actually, Gooby's been, and we've talked about this before, Eli, but Gooby actually has had a lot of self-esteem issues.
That's true.
In the past. Eli, would you like to speak on that a little bit?
Well, the brightest stars have a tendency to hide their flames because they fear being seen for what they really are, which is great.
That's so profound.
Gooby is some of the greatest among us. Sorry.
Why are you laughing? What?
Sorry, I thought
You were being so profound. Everybody was talking about how profound you are.
I was talking.
Actually,
Sorry.
Gooby was talking to me earlier about how profound you were. I was
That's
like, well,
nice.
later we're going to do this episode with Eli.
I didn't fucking. I said among us.
And and Gooby was like, oh my god, you're hanging out with Eli later? Dude, that guy is profound.
Yeah, and he's laughing about Among Us.
Sorry
I was too.
undercut my profundity with Among Us.
Yeah, but Gooby, he had a rough elementary school. Like he had a rough third grade.
I heard kids were throwing rocks at his neck.
What does that even mean?
He had a hard time in elementary school.
Rough third grade.
He had a rough third grade.
Yeah, some of us. Okay, there's two types of people in this world.
Yeah.
Were you the type that was bullied in third grade, or were you a bully in third grade?
I was neither.
Shut the fuck up. Do you what is going on right now?
Were you bullied in third grade?
No, dear God, no.
He was.
I don't remember any. I maybe was a bully in third grade. No. If I was a bully at any time, it was fifth grade, and it didn't count because the guy deserved it.
What do you mean?
Well, he was an asshole.
Was he?
Did he like your girl?
Was he moving in on your girl?
No. Is this a reference to something?
This is why he was a bully in third grade.
Third grade, I was moving in my girl.
No, that's not bulliedom. You were just someone was moving in on your girl.
Yeah, I didn't take it too far.
What did you do? Are we rehashing an ultra right? What did you do?
No, I didn't do much. I threw a few rocks.
Okay, that's chill though.
At this guy's neck. Often.
With recess, that was his favorite pastime.
I called him Mickey Mouse.
That's fun.
Can I leave that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And I shit talked him to the girl that we mutually liked. Yeah.
Enemy of the show, Nikki. Fuck you, Nikki.
No. Super cool guy.
Oh, cool guy.
Super cool guy these days.
Oh, okay.
I met him much later. We didn't go to the same elementary school, but I met him much later on.
Yeah.
I think he's a cool guy. He's pretty normal. But yeah, Gooby had a rough third grade.
But Gooby was like that.
And it kind of like left some like self-esteem issues within him. That's why, even though women find him absolutely desirable, I mean, come on.
He's hot, too.
You saw him. I mean,
earlier at the cashier, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, what also happened at the cashier stand right after I tipped him, but before he showed me his green, before he showed me his green, was, some girl like walked into the restaurant, and I'm thinking to myself like, oh, well, some girl's walking in, but it's okay. I'm already paying. Like, she's not going to cut ahead of me. This fucking asshole.
Oh, wow.
She cuts right ahead of me, and she's like, well, I just got to talk to Gooby. And I'm like, what do you mean? I already tipped him. He's about to show me his green.
Wow.
And she was like, he's all for me. Do you see how attractive he is?
Dang.
Yeah, there have been plenty of times where I've been like hanging out with Gooby out in public, and we just get swarmed. And the crazy thing is, he doesn't even pick up on it. Yeah, he's so he can't even fathom the idea of like women coming up to him and like being interested in him.
Yeah, well, earlier at the cashier stand, after I tipped him and after the girl came in front of me, but before he showed me his green, was he actually socked her. He punched her right in the face.
Oh, no, I do remember this.
She said, you're way too close for comfort, and just knocked her out.
That Gooby, he does like his space.
Is he just not looking for anyone? Is it willful ignorance?
He's on Goblin Tinder.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the cashier stand, he showed me his Tinder after he showed me his green.
He's on Goblinder.
This is a really long interaction at the cashier stand.
He does the prolonged green show. And you go like, I feel like I'm enveloping the green, and it's like, okay, I get to a point where I'm looking at it so much I can't even see it anymore.
I know. I saw a video of it. Like, green screen was a whole new word to me.
Yeah, and then he showed you his green another way. He started like flashing his money at you. Like,
oh, well, that was after
his racks on racks.
That was at the cashier stand after he showed me his Tinder. He showed me his green, comma again,
comma different this time.
Yeah,
and I didn't like. He doesn't even work at. He doesn't really work there. He does that as for fun. That's a hobby. He's
really?
Like,
oh, he doesn't even get any money?
Yeah, he's a model.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a model?
He's a Goblin model.
He's a model, but he doesn't think he's attractive.
Yeah.
But do you think that's like when politicians work at McDonald's? Or when it's more pop stars? I know Trump worked at McDonald's.
Are you talking about the politician? Are you talking about the Goblin? You're talking about the Goblin
She worked at McDonald's.
So they both previous political candidates worked at McDonald's. Drake in Future worked at McDonald's. Did Olivia Rodrigo work at McDonald's?
Like all of these for PR,
she worked at
right?
King.
Burger King? Like for PR, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard she worked at Burger King. I heard Sabrina Carpenter actually worked at Wendy's.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Sabrina.
I also heard that Goblar, the Goblin King.
Oh shit!
The Goblin King. He worked at
Goblar, the Goblin King.
He worked at Sirens R Us.
Really? I heard he worked at Checkers.
That's basically the same. Yeah. It's like a Hardee's Carl's Jr.
I heard Zeebeldorf works at the fucking stupid poo-poo store.
Oh, I love that store.
Dude, Zeebeldorf at the stupid poo-poo. Have you been to visit him there yet? I mean,
yeah.
Look, I wouldn't personally buy something from there. But he keeps himself very clean, shockingly. I mean, he wears all white every day to work. That's his uniform.
That's incredible.
And can you believe it? Not a speckle of brown.
How does he see the game so differently?
I don't know. I don't know how ZZ does it.
He loves it. But I think this is a very good time to talk about the larger Goblin issue.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
Goblins have been very misrepresented in society. I think we can all admit this. They've been painted as villains, as largely underlings, in the greater scheme. Famously, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, Eli, but there is a goblin loneliness epidemic.
There is a goblin loneliness epidemic.
I think that's definitely part of the reason why Gooby is, facing all these esteem problems.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's orcflation.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you exactly what orcflation is.
Google R34 orcflation today.
Orcflation. Well, I'm glad that you brought this up. There is a rule book. I want to hone in specifically on Rule 34 here
of orcflation. Sorry for stealing your thunder.
No, orcflation is a real thing. It's very similar to hoflation.
Yeah.
This is like home math?
Yeah, that's exactly like home math. Orcflation, because goblins want to keep getting with the orcs.
Yeah. Okay,
obviously.
This is home math. This is home math. Did I get home math?
Keep getting with the orcs.
I got Trojan horse in home math.
They only want to get with the orcs that are making more money than them.
Yeah,
and
of course.
so because of, but And everybody knows that every orc is always going to make more money than every goblin.
Yeah, I mean they make one doubloon to every
which is
75
super unfair,
shillings.
by the way.
Yeah.
So the government fairly, makes laws and regulations about fair goblin wages.
Sure.
And so now the goblin wage is equal to the orc wage. But this is a problem because anybody?
The goblins they don't like that.
The goblins don't like that. They only want to go after the richer orcs.
Yes.
So the goblins and the orcs have equivocal financial footholds. That sort of chemistry, the love, the lust, dare I say, that's found within that power imbalance is lost to time.
Yeah, well, the nature of God's most ignorant creatures, which are goblins, we all know that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Is that, they're kind of gold diggers by nature.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's also, on top of that, the orcs are actually pretty against the goblin community right now because, a lot of goblins are kind of moving on to only goblins. The site Only Goblins. Yeah. And it's kind of like
G
making
for
them...
G.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going G for G.
And then, they're posting their pictures on Only Goblins. And the orcs, they think that they're scandalous. They think lesser of them because of that, even though it's a completely respectable business.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing wrong with having an Only Goblins. My good friend Huzzledwarf.
Yeah.
I mean... I'm sorry to name drop like that. Obviously, that's like one of the top 25 Only Goblin creators.
We'll put a link to them in the description.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want people to subscribe, I'm sure they'd be happy to hear.
But so what if a goblin wants to post while they're doing their stuff?
Yeah, when they're goateeing.
So what if a goblin wants to show off its pointy ears, so to speak.
Show off its giant toenails.
Show its green
to the world.
Yeah.
Show its green. Make that green by showing that green.
Yeah.
Why is that a problem? So I thought it would be interesting today if we took some very famous, very misrepresented goblins in the world and give our takes on, because we all know these goblins. Yeah. I think we most of us will know each of the goblins.
We three are goblinologists.
That is true.
Connor eats pants is streaming Dream SMP drama.
That has been on a notification
I was looking at
for so long.
Oh, you have nice.
Yeah, I have a slideshow of famous goblins and what we think of them.
Oh, this is good.
First off, the Bokoblin. Yeah. From and I'd probably say
the Bokoblin.
Oh. Wow.
Just because it's orange instead of green? Are you seriously one of those?
Oh my god, Eli, I didn't think you...
Seriously?
Yeah.
I think this is representative of a larger issue in the goblin community, which is in media such as video games and movies and television shows, they are the armies. They are the worthless lives that you throw for battle tactics. They are the underlings. They don't usually get to have like a higher position. Now, do we think that's fair?
I mean, we all know what this stems from. It's critical hue theory.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the warm-toned goblins are getting totally fucked over all throughout history. Meanwhile, cool-toned goblins just have it all nice and easy.
You're cooking. What the fuck?
That's true. No, he actually took an Goblin Kana studies class. So.
I did. And, you look at this goblin, and I understand. You think, fuck this goblin lives too long just because you're used to... goblins of a lesser economic status living a shorter amount, and you're used to only the light, the cool-hued goblins are really living a long time, but that's not fair, is it?
It's true.
What did these goblins do to deserve this kind of treatment other than,
being resurrected by the blood moon.
And,
being resurrected by the blood moon. Exactly.
On top of that, Goblin Reagan...
They were just born somewhere else.
Goblin Reagan, famously put drugs into the lower economic systems.
Fuck Goblin Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to say...
I fucking hate
that's
Goblin
a bad
Reagan.
Goblin.
Fuck
That's
Goblin
a bad goblin.
If you have Goblin Reagan on this fucking playlist, what is it called?
Yeah.
Slideshow. I'm breaking the computer.
But he set them back lots of time. I learned in my Goblin kind of studies class, a wound in a community is not something that they can just get over. It's like you stab someone, right? You take the knife out. The knife is gone, but the wound is still there.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to heal from that over time. And the scar is always going to be there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And let me tell you, in this case, with the worm goblins, the scab isn't even formed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work we have to do. We're talking a lot about goblin reparations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited for what the future has to hold for them.
Yeah, I think...
Wow.
The Goblins, I think they're a good goblin.
I've been changed. My mind has been changed. You've changed my
It's
mind.
okay. It's okay. You know,
You
like
convinced me.
most people just don't know about it.
Yeah. I was gonna go in on how I felt that if you throw a bomb at a big group of these guys, it doesn't fully kill them, and that always pisses
Well,
me
that's
off.
pretty. That's
But you
pretty
know, let's just think about it, right? Like you're
But these are people that feel things.
Well,
throwing
they're not
a
people,
ball.
they're goblins.
What I'm
That's
hearing
true.
is that you're doing terrorism. What I'm hearing is that you're throwing a bomb into a crowded area.
They're just.
true.
And look, I understand. Obviously, they're lesser than us, so maybe just kill one at a time.
Yeah, they won't notice if we
Kind of separate from the pack. The ones that don't have tents, you kind of take them out first.
That's true.
Probably the most famous goblin of them all. I mean, we mentioned him earlier today. The Green Goblin. Now,
Yeah.
this guy,
The Green Goblin.
he's a very successful goblin.
Is he really even a goblin? Isn't he?
Well,
Willem
actually,
Dafoe in
he's
a mask?
interesting because I've heard a lot of rumors that he is a man who elected to turn himself into a goblin. One of the, kind of newer things in sports is these kind of like
Trans goblin.
transitional goblins. And look, I don't know what to think about trans goblins.
The politics of this show are boggling to me. I don't know what points are being made.
Every point is being made and no point is being made.
I have to sit up in my chair
Yeah,
for this.
You have to really,
Because I think I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Our wonderful boys are being forced to turn their skin green to become goblins.
They were beautiful.
Forcibly transitioned.
Orcs are becoming goblins before our very eyes.
Look, it's just physiology.
It's
if
just-
they want to be goblins, they can.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
when they start
it's not
getting-
for
They
me,
can,
but
they can. Whatever. I guess that's fine.
But when they start getting on my hovercrafts and start throwing around their goblin bombs, that's when I'm like,
seriously,
hold the phone.
like in the game of Goblin Quidditch, I just feel like we need to have a league, maybe a separate league.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes things more fair.
I saw there were a bunch of humans that were riding around on terrible, like, winged bike things and throwing bombs at public areas. And then I saw a guy who turned into a goblin. And he was way better than all the humans.
Though they do say that, or at least the Green Goblin says that he is possessed by the spirit of a goblin, and that's why he does it. I mean, what do we think of that? I mean, do you think he's telling the truth in that instance? Because I'm not convinced.
I'll tell you what.
Tell me what.
I know about 10 people, and I could list them if you need me to, but I know about 10 people that tell me they have the spirit of a goblin, these pre-op goblins, just playing in my human games. Seriously.
It's not fair.
It just doesn't feel fair.
not fair to
games.
Okay. All right.
You at the Goblin Games remake that they're doing? It's
Goblin Games too?
Mr. Beast games.
we have the Hobgoblin, which is actually the Green Goblin's son. This to me
James
is
Franco.
yes, James Franco.
Isn't it James Franco?
I think.
Well, actually, I think he called himself the Green Goblin, but he's really the Hobgoblin.
Well, fuck James Franco.
This is this is the quintessential Nepo Goblin to me.
Yeah.
Because he's
a hack.
He's leeching off of his Goblin father's fame, or his alleged Goblin father's fame, and that I don't stand for.
But it's good to see a warm tone kind of like get to live it up a little.
That's true. We do like to see our warm tone succeed. You know, there's a lot of colorism in the Goblin community.
That's
I mean,
true.
you were just talking about that.
But you know what? He is kind of a edge. You know, I feel like yellow.
He's definitely
you're
an
living on
approachable
the-
warm tone. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't cross the street per se.
You're not looking at a red goblin.
But
No,
I would
like, that would be crazy.
I would clutch my pearls if I saw him. You know,
I mean, like that's natural.
If I saw him flying above me on his hovercraft, I'd clutch my purse even
But you know,
closer.
I see this as kind of a LeBron and Bronny situation.
Yeah,
You know, Green Goblin is
LeBron.
almost out of the game, and he's one of the greatest.
No, LeBron is not almost out of the game.
Okay.
Some are predicting that he's going to retire. this
LeBron's
year.
got 15 years in him.
15.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like mid 50s.
Yeah.
He's going to be 60 by that point. I
Dude, that'd
think.
be awesome. Dude, he
nothing
plays with
to
his
y'all.
cane.
Like, he'll be unstoppable.
Would he be able to? Would he be able to like hit people's kneecaps and like hit the ball out of the air?
Well, he'd
I
use
hope
one of
so.
these Goblin hovercrafts by then, I'd imagine.
That's true. We got the Goblin from Clash of Clans. Very famous Goblin. Very famous Goblin species. Actually.
Redundant.
You think so?
Reductive. Redundant.
These goblins? Are you not a fan?
Goblins are redundant. No, I don't know.
I don't understand how a
I
real
don't have an
person
opinion
can be
about one thing
productive.
I've seen today.
I think that he's a hard worker. You know, we can't like we can't overpass that, right?
I
Like,
mean-
my issue with a lot of goblins is that they're very lazy. They're very lazy people, those goblins.
Really? Because I think they're incredibly hard workers, and I think the media just portrays them as lazy. They reinforce the stereotype.
How did they
through-
get away with this?
What are you talking about?
nothing.
Yeah, I think these goblins.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you
It's
mean.
crazy.
We all know what you
The game did not. It's not like an old game. Like I know Harry Potter or whatever was a long time before. But it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, dude, slap the funny hat on him, and it is.
It's
over.
insane.
These goblins are very good at stealing the gold
Here's what I told, like, I just said he's a hard worker, but that's a damn lie.
from stealing.
These goblins.
These goblins, I heard they have space lasers.
I heard
They steal gold
Yeah.
from other kingdoms and take it back to yours.
This
That's
and a
quintessential.
storm potion.
This is what I mean, though. They're portrayed in Clash of Clans as thieves. It's not fair. They're reinforcing the stereotypes. I mean,
You're right.
I know
Sure.
this goblin personally. He has a wife and kids.
He's a
He's
great
such
guy.
a hard worker. He has a great podcast.
And this is all his money. He earned this.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that he has a lot of brothers, though. Right, a lot of
That's
twins.
true. Yeah, there are
I've seen a lot of
them.
people out on the field at once, and they look just
their,
like him.
Their parents, they fuck
Yeah.
like mermaids.
Yeah, I'm friends. I'm friends with one of his cousins, and I've heard some weird shit. I've heard that there's some suspicious stuff going on within the family. Some dealers,
Oh.
Yeah.
some. Let's just call it inter-family connections.
Yeah, that is a very big problem in the goblin community.
And I see this guy and I'm thinking, like, I know that at least a few of them in that family are like this, so I'm wondering if you're getting it confused.
I mean, if I can just be real here for a second, they all kind of look the same to me.
Yeah. Well, let's try and not reinforce that. I mean, these ones
Yeah.
are all twins.
I mean, don't worry,
obviously.
I'm gonna cut that out of the episode. So
Okay, good.
don't even worry.
But
about
you
it.
can tell them apart because the twins, all of them, they keep their hair different. So this guy's bald to the bone.
Well, it's in their nature to be evil.
Wow.
Because they were bred on a boat over the course of 500 years through eugenics
That's true.
by evil doctor scientists.
Yo, yeah, the mad
slowly-
geniuses.
Yeah, that slowly over
Yeah.
time,
Dr. Gob.
Dr. Yakublin.
Goblin.
We got we got Muxus Goblin Grandee from
Okay, this is one of the most egregious examples of warm tone stereotypes I've ever seen, George, and it's offensive you would show this to me.
whoa.
I know a lot of goblins from the red elemental type in Magic the Gathering. Look, I know a lot of them. Most of them aren't legendary. This is a pretty well-off one. I know mostly common guys. 1/1s, 2/2s, things of like that.
Yeah.
But, they're always portrayed this way. Warring, violent, scary, in and out of jail. Fighting within the community, red on red crime, they call it.
Yeah.
Look, I just don't think that... Honestly, this is something we should show on the podcast. Can we
Yeah.
skip this?
Yeah.
Well, I have a side note on this, which is I don't play Magic the Gathering, but just giving it a quick glance, I feel like if you had this card, you would A, have to build a whole deck around it, and B, it would be fucking
Oh, you
nightmarish.
definitely build a deck around this.
It'd be
It's a 6.
horrible.
It's a 6. I used to play a lot of Magic.
I don't know anything about
This
it.
would be so goblin decks are usually like to overwhelm. Like you just get like a lot of like small token. The thing with red
Yeah.
is that it's low cost, so you could do a lot of like instants, a lot of damaging quickly.
That's cool.
So this one you get a lot of weak goblins out, and then like the stronger goblins to buff them. You see that one?
yeah,
word?
you get the 1/1 to everyone. That's cool.
This is an okay card.
Oh, he died.
Yeah, I gotta just turn it back on.
Give it hell. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that there was so much text I wanted to understand.
No, I understand. I read.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play Magic the Gathering, so I just read it earlier, and I was like, I don't fucking know what this is.
I feel like we strawmanned every single group under goblins. It was like trying to trace it. Okay.
I could keep going.
Are we back on?
Yeah, we're back on.
I'm back.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next goblin. Now, this is the goblin.
I love him.
Yeah, I'm big Terraria guy.
I love him.
And
Talk
this
about
is
a cool time.
talk about cool time. This is great.
That just made me. You could see it of my face.
You lit up when you saw a Terraria.
I need to enchant.
Yeah, no, this
Nothing
is
evil about this guy.
Yeah, actually, you know what? This is arguably one of the better goblin representations in the media, because in the game Terraria, you know, one of the first army that you face off against is the Goblin army, and there are sorcerers and there are scavengers and all that. But after you beat the army, you can find this guy. Now, this guy was thrown out of the Goblin army because of his ideas. He wanted to make the world a better place, and you know, it kind of shows that like not all apples are bad.
Yeah,
some are good.
Look, I mean, here's what I have to say about that. I think that, you know, as you covered earlier, Eli, they were all born on a boat. You know?
They were all born on
the boat.
Every goblin was born
they're all descended from the boat. The goblin diaspora.
Yes.
You know, it all comes from the boat.
They were all bred on a boat by an evil scientist.
Yeah, but you know, there's nothing evil about this guy, and I think that a lot of people would like to say all goblins are born evil.
Yeah.
But I think this is living proof that's not true.
Wow. No, this guy is a treat. He is incredibly kind. He is by far one of the most like useful NPCs. I don't know how much Terraria you've played.
He's incredible. I mean, the rocket boots, the crafting station, everything that he has, the enchants. Like, I think he is probably my favorite in the entire game.
Yeah, he's a cutie pie. He has a nice little relationship with the mechanic, which is really nice. Really it's really important to show that interspecies, relationships in the media.
It is,
totally.
so what if I'm into goblins sometimes?
I think that's fire.
Yeah.
You should
So what if only people I follow on X are only goblin models?
Who cares if I'm Who cares if I'm an active donor to only goblins?
Yeah.
So what? Who cares?
If you open my Instagram Explore page and you see that it's only goblins dancing,
you see a wave of red. So what? We all got types. But what I like about this is that they're not reinforcing that awful ear stereotype.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're all aware. I don't even have to say it. But that ear stereotype is really damaging. It's wrong. I know so many goblins with normal sized ears.
Yeah, and you know what? I have like a pointy ear myself, as you can clearly see right here.
But you're not a goblin.
People confuse me for a goblin all the time, and it's damn
You're
offensive.
One of those interspecies people. You got kind of both ears. You know what I mean?
I do have a grandpa who is a goblin.
Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. Cool. I've been lying about being Greek for the past 21 years of my life. I'm actually part goblin.
I didn't know you were Greek.
Well, I'm not. I'm part goblin.
So nothing new to learn here.
Right. But the Goblin Tinkerer, he has a hole instead. He actually has no ear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
That's why he's such a genius.
Yeah, he
didn't have to.
the sound doesn't have to like bounce around his ear before going in. It just goes right in the hole.
Most goblins operate on a 5 to 10 second hearing delay.
But this guy, he's ahead of the curve. This is Styx. He's an assassin goblin. He's actually the main character of a goblin assassin game, where he is the protagonist, and he is going into the goblin community and the people who permeate goblin stereotypes, and he fucking kills them. Wow. He's kind of like Robin Hood a little bit for the goblin community. He goes in, he fights the trolls, he fights the some other species. I have never played this game before.
Oh, nice.
But he does look very mean though.
Yeah. But he's hardened by a difficult world.
It's true. He's kind of a badass guy. You have to respect that.
He seems cool.
I respect it.
This is a man that I could sit down and have a beer with. Finally,
this is a goblin that I'd be comfortable hanging out with. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'd be comfortable with him around. If he was on my side. This is not the kind of guy that you want to be. Don't want to be on the wrong side of the minds of this guy.
That is true.
Do you know this guy personally?
I've met him. I met him once.
Really?
Yeah, this was a couple years ago though, and it was one of those things where. Some people do have an aura about them, right? Like you just come into contact with them and they don't have to say anything. I mean, you can even see his gaze is piercing.
Oh yeah, his focus is incredible.
It was fantastic. We were in a bar together. We were a couple seats away. I think he was probably on a job. I mean, he's one of these people that just only works and works and works. But we exchanged a few words.
where we just chatted about what we were up to in life, because he seemed so fascinating. And whenever I see somebody like that, I have to just pick their brain. And I asked him what he was up to, and he was very brief with it. He was just saying that he was looking for somebody, which I'm sure was true.
Yeah.
And he looked around, and then he asked me what I was up to, and I just said I was here for a drink. But just even in that, like, quick moment, it was just sort of this thing where I went like, this is somebody that I kind of want to model more of my life after. Like,
this was a few years ago.
It was a couple years ago. He wasn't trying to prove to me that he was working. He wasn't trying to like show to me that he was an intense guy. He was just letting who he was speak for itself.
But like a few years ago, was it around like March?
This was March of 2016, maybe May of 2016.
Oh, 2016.
Oh my God!
That's way
Seriously?
further back.
Yeah. Oh, was that? Yeah.
Well, no, because late February 2016. Remember, this guy killed Osama bin Goblin.
That's true. I remember he was hunting.
So you got him right off
with
of
the
that
help
victory?
of Barack Goblama.
Yeah,
you got him right off of that.
Yeah, I must have got him right off of his espresso.
Yeah, and he was right onto his next mission. I mean,
he's focused.
Take a moment to celebrate the incredible win for Goblin America.
Well, I think for guys like that, it's like success isn't the goal. I think it's the reward. So it's like he's not there to win. He's just there to do his job.
I mean, you just have to wonder like what his facial expression was like. Like did he seem excited? Does killing feel good in this scenario?
I feel like he's killed so much that he doesn't even register it anymore. Yeah. I think he was probably like expecting to feel something really big from killing Osama Goblin. Is that what it was?
Osama bin Goblin?
Yeah, Osama bin Goblin, but he did it and he was so like on to the next one. On to Goblin Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, I think it's like Gobbly Carter.
Gobbler Carter?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like a cloud rains, rock falls down the mountain,
right? And
a
Styx
tree
kills.
grows and he kills. Like it's not
Styx snaps.
Yeah, it's not about feeling; it's about nature.
Tyler the Creator's album, Goblin. Now I'll be real. I have not listened to most of the songs on this album.
A lot of them are unlistenable.
A lot of them are. Some of them are really good.
The ones that I remember that he told this, like in one of his songs, he told a story about like these 6 fans that he met at Six Flags, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. These 6 goblins.
The six goblins that he met?
Yeah.
I met these fucking fans at Six Flags.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did he say their names were again?
Goober.
He met Goober?
Yeah, he met Goober.
Freg.
Yeah.
Smem.
Freg.
Lormungulus.
And Steve.
And Steve.
Yeah,
Steve.
Yeah.
And then one more goblin named George.
Florence.
Oh, Florence, yeah. Florence is a fucking riot.
Yeah, I mean, that goblin is a treat.
That goblin's amazing.
So, are you guys fans of Goblin?
I don't think it's that bad, but I don't think you can listen to it.
It's not his best album, for sure. But, I mean, there's some parts of it that are, like, really, really good also.
He's the GOAT nowadays.
Yeah, I just don't know how to talk about this one.
That's fair. I do have one more goblin, or I should say half goblin. This person recently came out as half goblin.
Holy shit.
He has a goblin mother. Yeah, that's Steve Harvey.
Oh my God!
I didn't know that.
I knew that he was a goblin.
Yeah,
killing myself.
I mean, we're looking at for the audio listeners. We're looking at Steve Harvey, and he clearly has green skin.
You're not gonna put it up on the screen.
I'm putting it up on the screen. I'm putting it on the screen for the video viewers, but for the audio viewers.
Oh, sorry.
But you know what is most goblin about him?
What's that?
It's his very white teeth.
Yeah.
Goblins are famed, and this is another, really bad stereotype about them, is that they have bad teeth, kind of disgusting fang-like situations going on. But because of that...
The Grinch is a goblin, and he has termites living in his teeth.
He's the freak.
But because of that stereotype, most goblins actually put a lot of work and effort into their teeth, and they make sure that it looks very bright, very clean, because that's the only way that they know how to come off.
Meeting what kingdom, Steve? Meeting what? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. When he's playing Goblin Feud and he goes, sit on it! he does the splits. Yeah, how do we all... I mean, we all know Steve...
I love Steve Harvey.
Goblin Harvey.
Oh,
Steve Goblin Harvey. Very, very closely. So
Yeah.
what are our thoughts? Do we think he's a cool guy? Do we think he's a cool goblin?
I actually like Steve Harvey a lot. First of all, creationist, which I think over time that kind of thing becomes a bell curve where you go like, okay, that's your opinion, and like that's dumb. But I think at the end of the bell curve, I realized, no, Steve Harvey, you're a genius for not believing in evolution.
I think Steve Harvey's a cool guy. Don't get me wrong. Like everything.
Cool goblin.
Sorry, a cool goblin guy, right? Half.
Yeah, it's true.
He's one of those weird celebrities for me. Like, they don't talk about this a lot, but he is part of Gringlegert's like club.
That's true.
Oh, he hangs with Gringle?
Yeah, he hangs with the Gringlegert tribe.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, like, there's a lot of weird rumors about their beliefs and stuff. I mean, one of them is definitely the creationism thing.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, he's always been nice to me, all that. And bear in mind, like, I've used his teeth as a flashlight to find my phone many a time.
Yeah,
He's clutching
his teeth,
those
much like a
moments.
bald person's head, is very reactive to light.
Yeah, you can actually kill an ant using them. Reflecting sunlight.
They all have a succinct note that they play.
Yeah. Yeah. Very goblin.
Whenever you flick them, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm a goblin ally. I'll say it. I'm a very big defender of the goblin community.
Me too.
I am all for goblin marriage.
You were one of the first people, and by people I mean humans, on the front line of the goblin suffrage movement. I remember that.
That's true. Yeah, I was like the Susan B. Goblin. Well, actually, no, that's disrespectful to Susan B. Goblin, who I did do a lot of work. No, I was I was like the Susan B. Anthony of the women's suffrage movement, but for goblins. But Susan B. Goblin is not the goblin version of Susan B. Anthony. She's a completely
she actually makes fire pies though.
She is a great. She does, and I remember they were like hosing us down in the streets to like fighting for the right for goblins to eat at the same table as white people. And
just white people.
Yeah, just white people. I mean, this was
1960. Yeah.
This is in the 1960s. We weren't that progressive.
That's true. Yeah, actually, goblins were trying to get ahead of people of color.
Well, until all of us are free, none of us are free.
Exactly, but they did have the right to vote before. African Americans.
These goblins were. I mean, they were passing many tests. They were passing the Hugh test, the paper bag Hugh test.
Yeah. They passed the literacy test. I mean, they taught goblins how to read before they taught slaves how to read in the 1600s.
That's true. Yeah, land-owning goblins could vote.
Yeah.
Well, cool-toned at least.
Yeah, we can't get too crazy now.
Yeah, they kind of had a whole... And I thought what was interesting is when they were kind of creating laws like that, they didn't really understand how goblin anatomy worked in a way in which like somebody that might be more researched or of the modern time or even of the goblin community was. So like a lot of those things are interestingly backwards where you'll find like, when they did these sort of tests or examinations, usually a lot of the criteria were things that were just completely made up and didn't exist in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. The goblins were so fresh off the boat.
Yeah. Of course.
They're a very cunning species of critters.
And I'm of the opinion that if a creature suffers, it should have rights.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. I never really thought about that.
Very profound.
No, it's not.
It's very profound. Earlier, actually, at the cashier stand, Gooby was talking to me about how profound you were. And then he showed me his green.
Among Us.
I
love Among Us.
We have a tradition, Eli.
You do? Is it coming to a close?
Yeah,
I didn't get to talk about Melee.
I mean, we can talk a little bit.
No. The episode's over.
We reference Melee all the time on this podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did I sit through this whole slideshow when I could have been talking about Melee?
Well, who do you think in Melee?
No, I'm just
Who's your
kidding.
favorite Goblin player in Melee?
My favorite Goblin player is...
in Goblin Melee.
Well, actually, I don't know if he's my favorite, but I want Goblin Box to get a win.
It's been too long.
It's been too long.
Dude, it's weird to see Goblin Box fall so far.
Because I think Goblin Zane has like such a dominant record over Goblin Box now.
And it's really unfortunate. Like I remember like Goblin Box has been like getting so much hate, and I remember he even got like a leech thrown at him in the middle of like after he
Dude,
won.
that was fucked up.
Yeah,
and
really famously Rowan Clark saw it in person.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
really?
jealous.
Someone you knew? Someone you knew was at Pound 2019?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm jealous too.
I'm super jealous. Yeah, she saw the crab get, or sorry, the leech get thrown in
leech get
person,
thrown at Goblin
and the
Box.
crab get thrown at H Box.
Yeah, two completely different people, by the way.
Yeah. Two different games.
She was at Goblin Pound.
That's fine.
She went to both.
She went to both.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
She
I
must have
agree,
had
it's amazing.
IBS or something.
I mean-
She could go back and forth.
It's great that she went to both. Is because like she's so into equality within the sports scenes.
Yeah.
She's more progressive than all three of us combined.
Yeah.
That's true. We three are pretty fucking
Yeah, we're actually
deplorable.
We're quite traditionalist.
We're pretty
here.
bad people. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I want a trad goblin wife in the future.
That would be so sick.
That's a fantasy that I
Dude, a
that
trad
I
goblin
think
wife.
about
Yeah.
every
I
night.
didn't want to be the
Wow.
first to say it, but
Wow.
I mean,
definitely a
you're
trad
right.
goblin.
You're
Yeah.
actually
I definitely do think it's about time we start implementing
Yeah.
traditional values in goblin households.
I know, like, just
Yeah, I
let me
think
grab her
you're
by the
right.
ears, like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to agree with that or not.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know.
I think my goblin's gonna like it.
Who do you what do you like about Melee?
I think, okay, here's why I think Melee is not only the perfect game, but actually one of the best self-examination tools. Obviously, this is known. Obviously, this is known. No buffer system. Everything that you do comes out on the frame you input it. If you do it late, the game eats your input. And so what that means, really, because I think most modern games are coddled because we play them to have fun. We don't play them to like get good or exercise a skill like we would with like baseball. They're not adding like coyote time into baseball where if you miss a little bit, it'll still hit.
Yeah, you don't get those ghost frames where if you hit it the pixels like don't overlap but it still hits. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. There's no leniency. So Melee does the same thing. And I think through that, when it shows you, because I really do think it shows you through your gameplay and through sort of what ends up happening, it shows you your truest form of self in the way that, like, I don't know, a conversation or a game of ping pong or sex.
Right.
All of these things that require like usage of self or acting, things that require usage of self and true like internal expression where you go like, here is everything that I am and it's plopped onto the table. And I think that like games and system express that because we have to cut corners and we have to decide, okay, what parts of ourselves do we want to mold into the system? And so like there are walls that are set up by rules or like in video games, laws. But in the game of Melee, I feel there are so few constraints that you can truly bring yourself as you are. And so when you watch I'll just say Mango's Falco or Ginger's Falco or Fiction's Falco. You see three different people playing the same character and it looks like a different game entirely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that there's a profound beauty, and that happens in a lot of games, and it happens in a lot of sports, obviously, but that's a little more one-to-one. And I think that there's a profound beauty in that because as your skill grows, you become better at communicating and expressing yourself. And I think that the true purpose of art and humanity and life is expression and communication.
Wow. That was a very profound look at Super Smash Brothers Melee. I mean, I definitely understand what you mean. I also think there's like, in order to get into like Melee now, it takes a lot of like, I think it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, you gotta grind.
To like take time out of your day to like really put in the like straight up raw talent for like video games. It doesn't take you that far in Melee.
No, Melee is one of those games that you can't actually at all get by on just like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at games.
Yeah,
Totally.
It like fucks you over.
Yeah.
So it,
Which
like,
is kind of awesome.
You have to like, and I think in order to get better at like Melee specifically, you have to like look at your faults. You have to like be able to have the self-awareness to like look at your faults and be like, this is what I'm doing wrong.
Yes.
And I do think like, you know, the like overall like a lot of people think like gaming it's like a lazy activity and whatnot. Like it depends on the games that you play, but I think a good majority of gaming, it does teach you how to like grow as a person. You know, I was talking with Forrest a while back on like a game teaching you like the consequences of your actions. And the game that taught me that was The Walking Dead video game, and that's like I don't know if you guys have played it, but that's directly like a game where your actions directly affect like the one person that you like care about in this like fucked up zombie wasteland.
Absolutely.
And I definitely agree with you on that with Melee. As someone who has put like not that much time in, but did put a little bit of time into trying to improve in the game a while back.
Yeah, and those things, like, they can be expressed and articulated in different ways, where it's like, when you learn these things about yourself through bad habits and learning your mistakes, one of the things that I learned about myself is, I mean, I know this, but also I saw to the extent to which it was causing me to lose a game very tangibly is how I'm non-confrontational. Because I would be really content with just getting my stray hits in.
and that would cause me to have really bad openings. And so my punish game was weak because I felt like there was a part of me that didn't trust the process of punishing an opponent.
Yeah.
And I think that this is true in a lot of fighting games where it's like, if you say some fucked up shit to me in this moment right now,
I call you a goblin.
if you call me a goblin, I'll just be like, I'm going to let that slide off my back because I don't think it's worth it to fight with you right now.
Yeah.
And so I'll let that slide. But I think that there are a lot of situations in which that doesn't work out, and that manifested in Melee, and that was how I learned that about myself. When I was playing unranked like over and over for the entire summer when I first picked up the game, I spent, this is so like strange. I spent so much time thinking about my relationship with my father because every time that I lost, I thought about when I was a young kid, how he would just beat me over and over in every game. Because my dad was the kind of dad that would not go easy on a kid. He would use his full adult man strength to beat me again and again in soccer. And so that caused me to have this complex now that makes me feel like no matter what game I'm in, my first thought is I'm going to lose. And so if I don't give absolutely everything, my default position is losing. And so on a fundamental level, I am a loser.
Right.
And so that was something I learned about myself playing unranked for Super Smash Bros. Melee, being chain grabbed by a Marth on Final Destination.
Oh my God.
And I'm like sitting here locked in hour 5 of unranked, and I'm going, I need to fix my relationship with my dad. And that's something I wouldn't learn if I wasn't in like a meditative depth of like, the game's not, like, mommy's not coming. The game's not gonna coddle me. The umpire's gonna shoot the fucking baby in the head. Like, I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to understand who I am and suffer. And the world is getting in my way, and I'm on the other side of that. So I think that it is a really amazing experience. And I don't know. Well, there you go. I guess that's my thought.
I think what's cool about Melee, and like, I guess most fighting games, generally it's like, 2 people, up maybe 4 people are going to be playing. And that kind of allows you to get to that like meditative state. Like whenever I was like gaming hard, gaming like a lot, very competitively, like trying to look at myself to get better at the game, I was really big into CS. And like, that is not a game that you will ever reach a meditative state playing.
Totally.
Because guaranteed you're going to be interacting with 9 other people.
Yeah.
I promise you'll be interacting with them. Or they will be interacting with you. And I promise you it will change the course of your day.
Oh, totally.
But with like Melee or something like that, you're able to like kind of like lock into this game, especially online. In person, not as much, but I'd imagine still more.
You can do it. It's harder.
I just think it's different.
Still do it.
But especially online, like it's like when you're playing a single player game, like you're really like there.
Yeah. But you got to learn who the other person is too, because
absolutely.
They'll show you the ways in which their mom talked to them and put them down when they were 7 through the fact that they keep dash backing and you hit them with overshoot shine.
I think like
the goblin spirit like trapped inside of them trying to reach out.
I mean, I think like half the battle of like, playing like a game like Super Smash Brothers or like a game like CSGO is that it's not just you out there. There's another person that you have to like understand like fundamentally. Like you have to see them and interact with them in a way that can help you like understand what they're doing. And I think that directly translates to real life. You have a conversation with someone. It can't just be you talking like at them for forever. It's you have to like take your time and understand like where they're coming from and their background and like what they've done. And that like helps you communicate with people and also beat their asses in like Mario Kart or something.
Yeah.
It's not something that like you think outwardly often. But that's the beauty of Melee. And Gooby the Goblin.
Goob.
He's on a new wave, he's on a new arc, and he has Melee to thank. He used to have like a goblin masturbation problem.
I know, he was a gooner.
He was a gobliner.
Gooby the Gooner in his cave.
And he started playing Melee and he taught himself self-discipline and he stopped.
And now he's able to turn down women so easily he socks them.
I know. Yeah. He punches them like fucking crazy.
Yeah, he said you are way too close. Knocks them out middle of Panda Express at the cashier stand.
Yeah.
We have a tradition, Eli.
Okay.
It's time for the tradition.
It's time.
I'm so excited.
And
look, we ask this, to be clear, every guest episode.
Every guest gets this question. We're not just bringing this on you.
That would be unfair.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
People often see me in Forrest. Like out at a party or out at a Panda Express. Or even they just listen to this podcast and they go, whoa, these guys are like the exact same. Usually, they dress the same.
Mm.
Usually, they joke the same.
Mm.
Usually, they both have green skin and they scurry around and have pointy ears. But we don't think that's true. I mean, I think I'm different.
I mean, I know that I'm different. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
So we want to...
We're out in public, interacting. We hear people whispering behind us. Those guys are so similar. What's up with them? Are they in love? Real things that we've heard at parties be talked about us.
Yes.
Wow.
So what we want to know from you, Eli, is that other than physical things,
Yeah.
other than our green skin or...
Obviously, you know, like in Goblin terms, one of us is, you know, we're different hues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that.
We
We're
want you to
talking
get
about
deeper.
real, actual differences. You know?
Right.
Something more than George is wearing green today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because who cares if George is wearing green today? It doesn't say anything about him right now.
And you're not wearing green.
I'm not wearing green.
But that's not a fair
Yeah.
difference.
You know,
We
you
want to
can't-
know...
You can't say Forrest is the one with tattoos. Like, so what? You know?
We want to know, Eli, what's the difference between me and Forrest? Now, you could take as much time as you need. I will just edit it out.
All right.
Yeah.
If you say a repeat answer, we'll just let you know. We'll shame you for it, and then we'll make you give us another one. And obviously, you know me way more than you know this guy.
Of course.
So we'll understand that in your decision making. Like, we won't hold that against you.
I feel like
we
I
won't hold any of it against you.
I've learned a bit about Forrest and his game today.
Mhm.
That
guy, he loves his game.
Yeah, I mean, I love the
He
game.
loves the game.
the game. I learned the game from
I
William
have
Wesley.
so many examples of loving the game in a way that George could never.
You don't think you love the game?
No, he doesn't think I love it.
No, I think you like the game.
I don't even-
You might even love it, but I mean, you not like I do.
I don't even think this guy can comprehend loving the game like I do.
Really?
George, last night, I hate to tell you, me and the game had a very lovely time loving each other.
Really?
Because of the love shared between us.
Really? Because the game called me afterwards.
I fucking doubt it.
What did the game say?
What time?
I can't even.
What
can't
time?
even
What time
repeat
did
it.
the game
game
call you?
say?
Hey,
You
what
can't
time?
tell me at the
What time
end
did the
of
game
the
call
scene.
you?
5:14.
Game called me 5:15. It fucking idiot.
It called you. It wasn't in the room with you, like you just said.
No, left the room, called me from the room. Hey, I was missing you. We should hook up again.
Wait, no, I just remembered. It was at 5:16.
Oh,
Wait, no,
shit.
you're lying. That was the entire minute we were having sex. It was awesome.
She was on the phone with me after having sex with you. Before having sex with you, during having sex with you.
5:16, we were having sex during that minute.
Yeah,
5:17 would have made sense.
yeah. She called me and she was like, "You were so much better." That's what she said to me.
Not during. I was there. But this doesn't matter.
This does not matter.
That was interesting. I learned the game from William Wesley. You can never check me. Back to back for everybody that didn't get the message. I want to get it right.
That's fair.
And
That's
then
fair, yeah.
you said that I could take as much time as
Yeah,
I
I
You
can.
can, yeah.
I can edit this out. You
And
can't
I
say I'm a
can-
gooner though.
Yeah, you can't tell the world about his problem.
I didn't know you were a gooner.
Well, you should check out his room. He's got 6+ monitors.
Well, even just looking around here, I know there's no like direct gooning behavior, but it's sort of a gooner color palette.
Lots of screens he could be casting things onto, though.
That's true.
He's got a phone. You could cast things onto the camera screen.
But you know,
TV, the laptop.
the mark of a true gooner is not about the screen with which he goons on, but the mind with which he is deeply addicted.
That's true.
A true gooner would not need any of these screens. He would look at like, I don't know, the Wii and be able to hook it up to an internet connection and start gooning on that, you know?
Oh, sure, he'd hook it up to his brain.
Yeah, exactly. A true gooner.
He'd
would-
imagine multiple screens.
Yeah.
He could become the screen.
He'd set
Of
up,
which he goons to.
set up a lot of mirrors. It would feel like a lot of screens.
Yeah.
Baby on Baby 2.
That tour got canceled.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna see it in the Altria.
Because he said,
I know.
said
You really
horrible
wanted to see
things.
those babies go at it, huh?
because just no one wanted to see it.
That's fair.
There was like a video of him like going around like a store being like, "I got free Baby on Baby tickets," and no one wanted
dude.
it.
Damn.
Well, because nobody... Has anybody really, like, sat down and been like, yeah, the baby, that's my fucking guy? Ever once?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think he's known for his music. He's definitely a musician.
Well, I think that's debatable.
I don't think he's known for his music.
He's definitely not. He's known for having a tour get canceled because no one wanted to see it.
Yeah, he's known for a stupid fucking name.
I think that there is
in life, two distinct things that make up everything. I'm getting into my answer now. You could call it whatever you want. You could call it an A energy and a B energy. You could call it yin and yang. You could call it Kiki and Booba. You could call it Bert and Ernie. You could call it Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato. You call it Phineas and Ferb. You could call it anything you so desire, but I genuinely believe everything, the easiest taxonomy of everything is in sets of two. And I think that's fair, because the closer you get to that, if you try to boil it down anymore, you just go like everything is everything. And I think that the difference between you two, George and Forrest, is that George is tall and Forrest is not tall.
That's too physical.
It's too physical.
What was I supposed to say?
Normally we specifically say that you can't say that. Height, anything physical is a no-go. Really good lead up.
Thanks. I was trying to say
really good lead up into that. If we accepted an answer, it would have been good. But unfortunately, that's not it's too physical.
Do you want examples of what other people have said?
I don't want to know.
Okay.
That's true. Some people have said really good truth.
Well, you know what it is interesting, actually? I don't know if this is too invasive or anything, but what I find, and I actually thought about this when I watched the show for the first time, because I watched, you know, I hadn't seen any of it, and you asked me to be on it, and I was like, okay, like that sounds like a good time, and I like talking about myself a lot, and so I thought it would be a fun time, and I watched the one where you guys interview people in public.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed something about the two of you as interviewers and as people. And the first thing that I noticed, and this is where you two are similar, is that you had a tendency to try to convince the people you were talking to that you were listening to them rather than just listening to them. But what I found interesting is when somebody kind of comes and sits down, there's an anxiety that sort of fills one's body because they go like, okay, I'm talking to a stranger right now. And that's like completely natural. I would feel that exact same thing too. And George's anxiety lives in his body and Forrest's anxiety lives in his eyes. So you look for an answer to hide from things, and you stiffen up to protect yourself from things.
That's definitely a critique I've gotten a lot, like in performances specifically. Emily Madison has called that one out quite a number of times.
So that was I don't know why it didn't come to mind first, because I thought it before, but that's probably what I would say is the difference that comes to mind first.
Yeah,
interesting. That's a really good answer.
That's a great answer. It's one of the better answers, I would say.
Oh, good.
I agree.
Good.
Much better than height.
Wait, you haven't noticed that when I was acting, right? In class? It's okay if you had.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely some. I mean, I think that like the unfortunate thing about everything, but acting as well, is that like habits that you have are really hard to get rid of. And there was definitely a lot of. I mean, I'm sure. There are moments, especially when like leaning over dodge, it's easy to get stiff because that becomes intimate. And it's hard to know what to do with one's hands and spine and back, and I have very similar problems to you. So definitely in True West, I think that there was a lot of that stiffness. Actually, I thought you were really at ease in Fat Ham.
Oh yeah, we did monologues for the class. Fat Ham was the one I did after that one, where I actually working on the flick, I became a lot more comfortable with who I was when acting. So
we didn't even talk about the flick.
Oh, well, hey, maybe you'll come back on the podcast.
It seems like we could have you on again.
Oh, good.
Wait, you didn't notice any of my eye stuff when I was doing improv earlier.
No, I didn't notice anything today. I wanted to leave you guys alone, you know. I thought we were just having a good time chatting. I didn't know what the show was about, so I got confused when we were talking about goblins. I didn't know what was happening.
It's about what we do on this podcast. First and foremost, human rights.
Human rights is the big thing.
That is the biggest thing that we do on this podcast.
I feel like we did it.
Secondly,
we strive to have whimsical conversation that you just cannot find anywhere else.
Yeah, but mostly the human rights thing.
Yeah, that's
and the fact that we have to do it.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to be
contractually obliged.
I mean, it's obligatory.
human rights are obligatory in this circumstance? Or
no,
you are
podcast.
That's a great question.
whole.
I wanted to ask that. So you are obliged to do the podcast.
Yeah, no, we don't watch it.
we don't.
fucking hate
we
it.
hate it. We're very sorry about it.
And we're really sorry we made it. But
people kept asking.
kept telling us that we had to do a podcast.
Yeah, and look, we know you guys hate to hear it, but like, it's obligatory that you guys subscribe.
It is.
Yeah, and I would say it's even, just as obligatory that you leave a 5-star review.
Yeah.
A comment in our comment section.
Mm-hmm.
A retweet.
A retweet. I've even
Instagram.
heard a like goes a long way.
Yeah, and you know what? Hey,
hit that bell.
Tell some hit that bell. Tell some of your goblin friends about the podcast. I mean,
I don't know if they'll like it.
Well,
if I was a goblin and I saw this show,
George is famous in the Goblin suffrage movement.
Exactly.
They would love to see him take on 2 goblin deniers.
I don't know if I want the goblins to see what I said about them.
But yeah, let us know which person you think represented goblins the best on this podcast.
Yes.
Was it Gobstopper Gary?
Fuck.
Which is Forrest?
Was it Goblin Gavin? Which is George.
Or was it Gubernatorial Gary? Which is Eli. Let us know down in the comments below. And yeah, Eli, tell the audience where they can find you.
Hi, audience. You can find me on Instagram.com/Eli Wilcox. And that's it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, as always, we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
People from Sugan speak Sugandese. Lots of people think they speak Sugandian, but that's a geographic misnomer, because Sugan was initially westernized by the Greeks, not the Romans.
I'm going to fucking kill you, Gooby.